Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub with your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this one.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Hey everybody, welcome into the Gaming Hub. This is episode number 171. I'm your host, Tyler, saying thank you so much for joining us, and I'm here with our two co-hosts. As always, let's start with Steven. How are you this week?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I had a busy week of work, though I took Monday off. Last weekend I had a softball tournament. We're undefeated, won the championship, quality stuff, very fun. Weather was nice. It was near the beach, so it wasn't super hot. Kind of overcast. I love playing in overcast, like softball / baseball, because, you know, it's not hot and you're not sweating when you're, like, sprinting around the bases and just everywhere. But no, that was fun. Didn't really play much. Well, I played a little bit of Breath of the Wild, but that's about it. I got decently far, but didn't get crazy far. I think I got to the first, one of the Divine Beasts. I guess it's not the first, since you can, go to any of them.
No order.
But I went to the one in, I forget the name of it, but the one near the fish people. I forget everything. I just want Graham to correct me here. But so I haven't really played a lot of video games. But I am excited because Dragon Quest Builders comes out tonight, I guess. Technically.
Tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, but at midnight tonight. Or actually, it might even be live in an hour, depending on time zones and all that stuff. Anywho's, so I'm excited for that. I hope to be playing a little bit of that this weekend. I was actually thinking of doing a community play. I know it's kind of late notice for some of you, but if you're in a Facebook and Discord, you'll see it. We might hit that up either this Saturday or next Saturday, depending on what people want. But I was thinking about doing that, so I'm not sure what you guys want to play. It doesn't matter to me. We have fun playing the Jackbox games. We have fun playing the we played Halo before. That was fun. A lot of Xbox stuff, but we could play across the board. Just depends. So join our communities. I'll go into the spiel in a bit. But yeah, other than that, my week's been pretty good. I had a meeting. That's why tonight's episode for those on Twitch was late at a work meeting, and you know how those can be super, super, super fun. But yeah, other than that, my week's been fine. How about yours, Graham, who is also a co-host?
Yeah, Graham, how are you?
I'm doing quite well, thank you. It's been a really hot weather we've been having, and where I'm working, there's no AC, and there's a whole bunch of brickwork going on, so it's loud and dusty and hot and all these wonderful things. But I did get to play some games, and with Steven was talking about Dragon Quest Builders 2 is coming out. I got back into Dragon Quest Builders, the first one, a couple days ago, I think, and I'm hooked on this game. I've been working my way through it. I'm on the third chapter now. Game is a lot of fun, and I can't wait to play the new one and just see how they've changed it. And I'm hoping that they fix some things that I had issues with in the first one. I'm actually going to be putting up a video on YouTube where I talk about the new one coming out and a little bit on the last one. So if anybody wondering what my impressions is and what I'm thinking about the new one and want to learn about what's coming out and the second one, check out the video. And yeah, that's basically took up most of my week.
Yeah. Speaking of that video, I did get out a Super Mario Maker 2 impressions video on Monday, so you can see, and from basically a noob, because I got far in Mario Odyssey, but that was about the only 3D one. I've never really got out of the first world in any of the 2D Mario, so I have maybe a different experience than a lot of you, but you guys might enjoy it, so go check it out. Yeah, but Tyler, you're here. How's your week been?
I am.
You put up something on YouTube too.
I did. I'll get to that in a second. My week's been all right. A little rough in some ways. And anybody here, if you're listening, if you're an animal lover, you probably know what it's like to have to, say goodbye to someone who's been part of your family for a long time. So that was yesterday for me. Fritz, my 16-year-old Schnauzer, unfortunately just dealing with a lot of health problems and Started with arthritis about 4 to 5 years ago, and now it's just progressed to a lot of other things. And unfortunately, he's just not. I think he was still enjoying life, but he just can't do or couldn't do what he normally did anymore. So, we went to the vet. Unfortunately, I had to make that decision. So, it was not a fun day. So yeah, but he's been around, pretty much most of my, if not my entire adult life. So, it sucks to have to say goodbye like that. But, in happier news, well, kind of, I played Sea of Solitude.
Yeah.
And I say kind of because that's a game that deals with, depression and anxiety and really fun stuff. I did a review for it as well. That's up on YouTube right now. And that actually went up yesterday. So it's, a decent, it's a decent game. We were all pretty excited for it last year, guys.
Yeah.
When we saw what we saw of it at E3 at EA Play during their presentation. But, I don't know, Steven, you played some of it. You played through a little bit of the first level, right?
Yes. I got through chapter 1.
Yeah. So you're just through the very beginning then. I think there ends up being 11 or 12 chapters total in the game, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's decent. I feel like there's some missed potential there with the game, and in a lot of it in a couple different areas, but in a lot of ways the game shines pretty well. So give that review a look to see our thoughts on it, and decide if you want to check it out. So also we have a Madden tournament that we're getting ready to do. So I want to make sure we remind everybody of that here on the show. And the only way to join it, you play for free. The only way to join it, though, is to become part of our community and register for the tournament through either Facebook or Discord. And there are links to both of those in our Twitch channel, which Steven will cover in a second. But we had talked originally about doing that, starting the tournament on July 20th. We are going to push that back probably into more early August, just because, Steven, we were talking yesterday, and we were kind of like, man, football actually starts in like 2 weeks, training camp. And it doesn't feel like it. We're not excited for it yet. I don't know about anybody else out there. I'm sure some people are.
Go football.
But, yeah, Graham. But you said it. I agree. I generally don't get really hyped for football until not even the preseason games starting, but when Hard Knocks starts on HBO. It's when I really start getting into football mode, and with my baseball team playing so well this year, I'm even less focused on football, to be honest with you. But so we are going to push that back a little bit, and let people get a little more hyped. Even though Madden 20 is coming out early this year, we still are going to use Madden 19 for the tournament.
Yeah,
so it'll be. Go ahead.
If we have enough, like if everyone that joins it has Madden 20, we can do it there. There's no. It's just if we have people that can only play Madden 19, that's what we'll do it. So it just all depends on who signs up and stuff. But it could go either way. Right. But it's probably going to be 19. But you never know. Could happen.
Yeah. It's most likely going to be 19 because I want to have the opportunity for people to play that just have EA access and didn't buy it but want to play.
I mean, we could do maybe an opening release tournament for if we have enough people that would be interested. So, join the community and tell us if you guys would be interested in that, because we could very easily do that. That's, the game comes out and people want to play it right away, and that'd be fun. Set little kind of unofficial, tournament.
Yeah, so, if there's enough interest there, we'll do Madden 20 as well. Otherwise, we'll have our online connected franchise for that syncs up with the season week by week. So that'll start in early September. And we will also be doing a community fantasy football league that we'll send out registration forms for here soon, and links to join and sign up. And Graham, you are going to participate in fantasy football for the first time ever.
We'll say attempt.
Mm-hmm. So, don't worry, everybody in the community, make sure you give Graham some good draft tips to help him. Graham did attempt fantasy baseball last year, and it was... did you have the worst team in the league, Graham?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. But, that's kind of to be expected. Baseball's my favorite sport to play, fantasy, but football's all right.
Football's the best because you only have to do it once a week.
Once a week, yeah. I agree.
Guys, I have to set my baseball lineup once a week, and then I walk away.
No, you don't, because Yahoo Sports sucks with setting it. They always set, like, the injured people. If they prioritize, like, season rankings, it'd be better. Let's not go down the rabbit hole here of sports, which we always do to open. But that's,
I know, but I'm just gonna say this, and then we'll move on. But Graham, you can't say that only having to set the lineup once a week is a bonus, but then say hockey's the best, which you have admitted to having like spreadsheets on and looked at dozens of times every day.
Okay, that time that I had spreadsheets, I did the worst out of my both
you
attempts.
Overthought
it. I learned no
and you probably overvalued people too, based on what the spreadsheet said and not what they're doing. But again, let's go away from sports.
To the specifics.
Hashtag.
Anyway,
quick segue.
Anyway,
it's funny. I'm sitting here on camera, and I was just thinking back to the last time I was on camera, which was actually Friday during D&D, and the people that play D&D know, but I'll tell the story here because I thought it was kind of funny. But I'm sitting here and like I feel the ground shake a little bit, and I'm like, oh, earthquake, and like. Kind of being funny, on camera, I decided to, like, get under my desk. Well, I'm really glad I did that because all of a sudden it was like, boom, 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 and, like, it's, like, rolling, and it was, like, 20 to 30 seconds, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of glad I'm under this desk right now.
That was the 7.1,
yeah,
right?
it's funny because, like, being from California, like, those earthquakes aren't really that bad because I'm so used to kind of big earthquakes. Now, I do feel for the people that like are in the epicenter. I think it hit the same place it hit last week, so those people are not doing too hot, and I hope they're all good, and hopefully no real damage. I know there was some damage at some of the like shops and some roads, but it was just,
and if we have any listeners in that part of the country, hope everything's well with you, as well as anybody in New Orleans right now,
for sure,
or Louisiana in general, with hopefully nothing nearly as bad as Katrina approaching, but with flooding already a problem and a hurricane pretty much targeting New Orleans right now, that's a little scary too. So
I was trying to keep it light and breezy, but yes.
I know, but I do have two more quick announcements to make before we move into plugging everything. So in the next week or so, we're going to be doing some different things with the show in terms of some guests and etc. So tomorrow or Saturday, I'm actually doing a guest spot on the 16-Ounce Gaming Podcast, and a community member of ours, Raz, actually is the host of that show, and we're excited to go on there. Steven, you might be joining?
Yeah.
Not sure, so
very possible.
We're excited to do that. That'll be really fun. And next week, we'll have an interview on the show with X1 from the X1 Bros podcast, and he... I've been a listener of their shows pretty much since they were in the single digits, and to get him to come on is going to be pretty cool. So, just an awesome guy, and get a chance to talk to him. We won't do it live on the show, but it'll be an interview segment that we plug in. So we're excited about both those things, and look for that X1 Bros interview on episode 172. All right. Now, Steven, talk about all the ways they can join the community and register for the Madden tournament.
So we would love to have you come join our communities. It's the best way to find out about all the cool community events we have. Like I mentioned, community play coming up, Madden tournament, all that. The easiest way, in my opinion, is to head to Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub. Sorry, that sounded terrible, I think. TXH Gaming Hub. Yeah. From there, you can find links to Facebook, Discord, Twitter, Instagram, email, all that fun stuff, right? And while you're there, drop a follow, hint, hint. And Facebook's the Gaming Hub forums. If you want to do it that way, you can. And you can get links to Discord there as well. Join Facebook, join Discord. A lot of great people, a lot of great conversations. Again, finding about all the fun stuff. Sometimes you guys get together and play just off the cuff. I know we talk about food. They really love when I talk about food. Like, for instance, yesterday I ate some pizza the correct way to do it, with a fork and knife, with a napkin, in my shirt, just so I don't get any of that yucky grease, on me. That's, join the community so you can agree with me there. So like I said, Facebook, Discord.
No one agrees
Follow
with
us
you.
on Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. We have a lot of fun tweets. We retweet, tweet things out. It's Twitter. You either love it or you don't. Either way, we're there. You can join us. You can send us an email at thegaminghubpodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. We read every single email, good, bad, and different. You know, if you like what you hear, you dislike, you disagree, we read it, we talk about it. Sometimes we don't necessarily agree with you, but we read it and we talk about it. And then finally, go to the Gaming Hub podcast on YouTube. A lot of great videos. We had 3 up. I probably, unless something majorly bad happens, gonna do a the first 20 minutes of Dragon Quest Builders 2 tomorrow and get it up right away. I'll just talk through it a little bit, and that'll be fun for you guys. You can see that. And then I do have a review for a game coming shortly after sometime next week, unless, again, the world collapses on me. But either way, join YouTube. We have a lot of subs. Comment, like, all that stuff. We love you. We appreciate you. Go check them out.
Yeah, unless Steven, the movie San Andreas.
Yeah,
unfolds,
in real life, right.
Before you. And in that case, you just need The Rock, and you're good.
Y'all, that's all you need ever is The Rock. Dwayne Johnson.
Well, unless it's like 2012, then you need John Cusack.
No.
So
Stretch them all.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So if you want to support the community, we'd love to have you do that as well. And a couple different ways to do so. So Steven mentioned Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch Prime sub to use every single month. And if you choose to use that to help support us, we'd really appreciate that. Helps us get better equipment, do things like video versions of the podcast, like people on Twitch are watching right now, and get better equipment for going to shows like E3. And another show that we're actually going to talk about, we forgot to announce it, Steven. We'll talk about it in a second.
Day.
And, just do better giveaways, all that kind of thing for the community, and just make the community better. And the show better. So it really helps there. If you choose not to support somebody with it, it's a free sub to use every single month. So spend it on somebody, help them achieve their goals. And we also have Patreon, patreon.com/gaminghub. I can't state enough how much we appreciate everybody who supports us there. And for as little as $2 a month, you can get bonus content. You can get extra things, sometimes early access to videos that we do, all that type of stuff. For as little as $5 a month, you get all of that stuff, plus entries into weekly giveaways now just for patrons. And we'll do one here at the end of this show as well. And that's for as little as $5 a month. And if you go all the way up to $25, actually, what is it, Steven? At 10, you get the shout out,
15,
right?
15, you get the shout out.
15. Sorry, 15. We just kind of restructured. So 15, you get the shout out at the end of every show. And at 25, you get a new shirt with our logo and everything on it. And we generally put out new shirts once every 6 months to a year with new designs and all that type of thing. So again, I can't state enough how much we appreciate those of you who do support us. And if you are in a place to do it and you love the show, please consider visiting Patreon. Again, patreon.com/gaminghub.
Yeah, and speaking of the shirts, the Gaming Hub E3 2019 baseball design will be going away pretty soon. So it's your last chance to get it. I actually really love the design. The shirt's comfortable, but yeah, I like the baseball script. I think the baseball script always looks really good. So if you're looking to buy one of our shirts and you like that one, jump on it, because you might not be able to get it for very much longer.
Yeah, it's weird. I think when we got the design sort of finalized, we were all like, yeah, that's okay. That'll be fine. But then I think when we saw it in person, I like the shirt quite a bit. So the design really works well. So, and me and Steven anyway are huge baseball fans, and not so much Graham, despite our best efforts.
Yeah.
So we tried it, and the Blue Jays were even good for a while, and you still just don't. So, but whatever. Anyway, we're not going back down the sports route at all. Steven, we went to E3 about a month ago right now. We were there actually, and that is not the last event you're going to go to in Southern California. Covering an event as media for the Gaming Hub, you're going to something else in August. What are you going to be attending?
I'm going to be attending Halo Outpost Discovery. I think I got the order of that correct.
I think that's correct.
So that'll be cool. The first one happened, I think it was in Chicago last weekend.
It was in Orlando.
The second happiest place on earth. Behind Anaheim, California. I'll be heading there to that in the end of August, and I'm excited. Halo was one of the first games I ever remember playing. Probably played Halo 3 online. That was the first online game I ever played, and I'm just excited to check it out and see what's, kind of there, and I think it'll be really, really fun. So I'm excited, and I hope to get a lot of great content out for you guys, too. The important
so I watched a video today that sort of highlighted all the big stuff that's there, and there's some stuff that I think you, and I'm a Halo fan as well, I think you're going to love. There's the Pelican training thing where you have to work together. It's kind of like the Millennium Falcon thing that you described, where you have to work together to respond to all these things that are happening as the ship is like crashing to do it. So it's all 8 of you or however many that are in there all have to work in one group together to complete it successfully. Then the VR I've heard is quite good. The Halo competitive VR. So it's like multiplayer but in VR, and I've heard it's actually much better than you would think. So that might be fun. And there's a lot of stuff to do there, but the last one I'll point out is the laser tag.
Yes, I saw Green Skull doing it, and he seemed to really, really enjoy it. So I might check that out.
And the cool thing is the guns actually play like the Halo music.
Ooh.
While you're
I heard
going.
the respawn thing that ding, ding, ding,
yep.
ding.
Yep. And the what's called the shield. So if you lose your shield, it'll play the sound of the shield coming back. Charging up again. So that's really cool. I hope you have a great time there. Graham, you're not going to make the trip from Toronto?
No, that's quite too far for me.
So, no. Graham will probably be going to a show up in the Toronto area later in the year, though. So, but the Halo Outpost should be a lot of fun, and we should really get everybody some really good content from there. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to what you come back from or with Steven, and not looking forward to how jealous I'll probably be that you got to go.
Is, though.
So he is, I know.
I love it.
I'll hear about it a time or two.
Just one.
But,
and I'll be texting you the whole time like, ha ha ha.
I know.
Selfie.
That's all right.
Wish you were here, but you're not.
So, anyway, that's it for all the announcements. Let's jump into the news, guys. And what should we start with this week?
I guess it was the biggest thing.
Yeah, Graham, the Nintendo Switch Lite was announced. I'm sure you think it's a huge deal. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty cool, and the Nintendo Switch Lite was announced. It comes out, Graham, the day before your birthday, correct?
I know.
So
same day that Link's Awakening gets.
Yep, day and day with Link's Awakening. I'm sure there will be a bundle involved somehow, some way. But it has a price point at $200, so it's $100 less than what the launch version of Switch was. But it doesn't connect to your TV.
No.
So, Graham, you are the resident Nintendo guy, the biggest Nintendo fan. What are your thoughts on this? Or does anything concern you? And who is this ultimately for?
Okay, so ultimately this is for people who don't already own a Nintendo Switch. It's for people who are not interested in playing it on the TV. Mainly, they have 3DSs and they're looking to upgrade to the next system that is completely portable. Now, the system's not 100% portable. Like, you can still do tabletop mode, even though there's no stand for it. But I'm sure there's going to be like a third-party stand because you can connect your other Joy-Cons to it. So it's definitely aimed at people who don't have a Nintendo Switch. Because if you have a Nintendo Switch, there's really no reason to have this unless you're really worried about taking it and getting it damaged, and you have like a special edition. So this is, like, I know some people are big fans of Nintendo Switch. They'll get one anyways, like collectors and stuff like that. But
yeah, like this guy Graham that I know.
Yeah, I don't see there's a Pokemon edition coming out, but if there's a Link's Legend of Zelda edition, then I might be more inclined to get it.
You're gonna get both.
No.
Graham, you were gonna get HTC Vive years ago, and you haven't because you keep buying new Switches.
Sure. It's not the totally reason, but it's definitely.
And Lord of the Rings
reason.
box sets.
Oh yes, because I got that huge one that no one's supposed to know about. But
I still think you bought it.
Yeah, I did. But as far as who I think that's for, that's who I think it's for. The price point, I think comes at a good price point. Like, I went through so many comments, and there's so much negativity about this. One person actually wanted it for $120. I'm like, are you kidding? Like, you expect them to sell this for $120? That's ludicrous. Because, like, right now you can get a 3DS for $50 cheaper. So why would they come out at the same price as a 3DS? Because nobody's going to want to buy the Switch. So marketing, it makes sense. And for how powerful it is, like $100 cheaper than that, I think it's a great price. And then it also gives room for a price drop for, say, a holiday bundle or maybe next year or whatever. So it gives it some play, right? If it comes out at $250 and they drop it, then it's like $200. Or sorry, I'm thinking Canadian right here. So they drop it down to like $150. Like that's a good price right there, right? But if you start at $150, where are you going to go? There's really nowhere to go, and they're not going to sell it at a loss. So I think it's okay. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Stephen, I'm not sure this is necessarily for the North American market. I think that this will really do well in Japan and maybe in Europe. But what do you think about who this is for?
Well, I wholeheartedly disagree with Graham. This is not for people that don't already have a Switch. This is for the people that do have a Switch, that have kids or a wife or someone that wants to play the Switch as well, but maybe doesn't care about playing on TV. Because I've seen a lot of, like, parents on, the Nintendo groups on Facebook and the Nintendo sites on Twitter saying, like, oh, this is awesome. I'm playing my Switch. My kids always want, like, their turn, and so they can give it to them because they always play it docked. So those are the people that are going to be picking it up. I think if you don't have a Switch, I wouldn't go with this. $100 is $100, and that's nothing to write off, but, like, I'm all for future proofing, and you never know if you're going to want to play it docked at some point, and you might regret it if you get the one for handheld only, and you're like, dang, I wish I could play this on the TV, and you're like, you can't because you didn't spend the extra $100. And I get, like, not everyone can, but if for those that are looking to get the Switch and, like, see that it's $100 cheaper, I don't necessarily know if that would be the wisest choice. If you know for sure you're going to play this only handheld, like, you can save your $100, and that's cool. But this isn't a Switch. This is a 2DS that can play Switch games. Because the name of the Switch implies that you can switch between TV and handheld. And you cannot...
You switch between handheld and tabletop.
You cannot switch between handheld and TV with the Switch Lite. It is strictly for, it's strictly handheld.
Yeah. And the reason I said I think this might play better in a market like Japan is because in Japan, everybody loves playing games handheld. And mobile gaming is huge there. Whereas in the States, I feel like people still like to sit in front of the TV or in front of the PC and play. And mobile gaming just hasn't taken off with the quote hardcore gaming, community in North America. So I wonder how well this is going to do here. I do think it'll do very well at first because there's going to be a lot of people that are excited for it, that are Nintendo fans, that will kind of buy almost anything they put out. But I wonder the sustainable success of it. Because, Steven, I kind of agree with you. Like, the Switch means you can switch between docked and handheld, which is the selling point of the console, other than the game library that they have. But you kind of take that away. And, Graham, I'm not going to let you redefine what Switch means.
I know.
And include tabletop.
And they should call it a light Switch, too, in my opinion.
Should call it half Switch.
The name's fine. The Nintendo Switch Lite makes sense.
Yeah.
The Nintendo Light Switch
does.
It sounds like a brand of Nintendo that you would use to flick your lights on and off.
Yeah, I was kidding. I wasn't that serious.
No, you weren't.
So anyway, no, I think it's cool, and we've been hearing rumors of it for a while, and now it's finally announced and confirmed. So we'll see in September how it performs, and we'll see if this is sort of a precursor to a little bit more powerful mainline Switch, Graham, maybe next year.
Nintendo Switch.
There is a rumor of that coming out. I don't know if the same people that rumored about the Switch Lite, rumored the more powerful one, but there is a rumor going around for that it's going to have the new Tegra chip and like that, which opens a whole realm of possibilities of making it a way better system.
Mm-hmm. Well, Graham, I think next year is the time for them to show off something stronger, kind of that halfway through the generation upgrade, because there's going to be new consoles coming out, right?
So done it this year, then.
Yeah, I agree, but you're still able to show something, and Nintendo always has a way at E3 of having a pretty good presentation since they've gone to the direct format. So I think if they make it good and they're able to kind of say to their fan base, hey, we're looking out for you. It's not, none of their fan base expects it to be as powerful as what Microsoft or Sony is going to have. But just to say, hey, here's an upgrade to get, they're getting better, we're getting better too. That'll appease that fan base, I think. So, all right.
I have a feeling this is going to sell well, though. Could be the optimistic in me, but I really do think it's going to sell well.
Yeah, everything from Nintendo sells well. Yeah. The Wii U sold well at first, but it trailed off quickly.
Yes,
really quickly.
People realized what it was.
Yeah, so I wonder what's going to happen here. I'm not concerned with what the sales numbers are in September, October, November, through this entire holiday season, because they're going to be strong. I want to see what they are a year to a year and a half from now. That's kind of what I want to see. So, all right. Anything else, guys, before we move on to Hello Games?
No.
Hello.
Yeah.
This will be for people that utilize the same people that bought the 3DS will buy this.
Agree. All right. So, Sean Murray, Graham, you were once very excited for a little game called No Man's Sky.
Yes. No Man's Sky.
Yes, and then it came out and it was No Man's Sky at launch, and you were quite disillusioned by that. You were not happy with what that game ended up being, and it was for a while going to be the reason that you bought a PS4, and you ended up not getting one for a while.
That is correct.
And we've seen multiple launches like that of No Man's Sky, and you could argue too many of them recently. We've seen it from Microsoft with Sea of Thieves. We've seen it from Bethesda with Fallout 76, another of Graham's favorites. And we've seen it from EA with Anthem, which might have been the one that hurt the most, because I think Anthem had a lot of people excited about a new IP that looked really cool.
Yeah.
And so Sean Murray spoke about this at the developers conference and kind of said that Microsoft, Bethesda, and EA aren't taking the right approach in how they're reacting to the fan base after having, underwhelming, we'll say, game launches.
Yeah.
For these online games. And
first of all, I think it's funny how he compared himself to EA, Microsoft, and Bethesda.
Well, it's a fair comparison in the sense that
for the game
those games were hugely underperforming.
But not the company, though.
No, but he's also learned from this, and No Man's Sky generally gets praised today for what it is. All right, so he says they're all handling it incorrectly, and there's a better way to do it. So he makes the argument that they should not be constantly communicating with their fan base, and instead sort of hunker down, get results first, and then communicate. So, Stephen, I know you had some thoughts on this, and I want to go to you first here.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. Not that you want to go to me first. That he thinks that. I get it in some ways, right? There are a group of people that just love to crap on things just to crap on them. And I think I saw somewhere that said, a lot of the hate for... I don't know if it was for No Man's Sky, but it was for something recently. It came from people that had never played the game. So people just, pile on, right? Because it's fun,
Oh, yeah.
And people are...
Especially with EA.
Shatheeds, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get that, where you say something, you're not going to win, but I don't like the disappearing and not saying anything for however long, and then, I like that they, fix the game. I do like that. But I don't think it's the same when Microsoft, Bethesda, and EA, if they were to do it where EA. Okay, so Microsoft and Bethesda, could probably get away with, not saying anything and then coming back because they're a bigger name. EA would feel like they're kind of swindling you, and it does feel like that from like these smaller developers, right? If they take your money, and they deliver or they fail to deliver because they lied about like what was going to be in the game, and it just didn't work like the way they said it, and and then they just stop talking about the game for 6 months at a time, like that's not cool. I mean, I don't even think it's okay if Microsoft and Bethesda were to do it, or EA too. Like, it just feels like you're taking your money and you're taking advantage, and it's not. It's gonna make me not want to buy the things you're making because it's like, well, I'll just wait. You can't deliver a product good at day one, and then you're not gonna say anything about it. So why would I buy it day one, just for that crap? Like, I'll just wait. That's fine. I don't because FOMO, but theoretically, I wish.
And also because we do this show, right? I was just gonna say, if we didn't do this show, I might wait on some of these online driven games.
Yeah.
Just to see what they actually play like at launch. But I don't know. I'm not sure where I feel on this because I think these companies can't win no matter what they do in that scenario. And I'm not saying they deserve to win because they are getting some heat for a good reason. But some of the heat can be unfair and piling on, like you said. But I think EA, let's look at EA with Anthem. So early on, they communicated a lot. They over-communicated. Here's our roadmap. And like I said in the past, like whenever the word roadmap is thrown out, I'm just like, But then that never materialized, and then they just went silent. And then they got killed for that, too. So I think the damage was done there, though, by the time they went silent. I think you got to say something up front, though. I think you got to say, hey, we get it. We effed up. You obviously got to say differently, but we made mistakes. We're going to focus all of our attention for the next month on making this right for you, and we'll have more news for you when we know what that's going to look like at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Or the end of that month.
Yeah, that's what you do. You say, all right, we screwed up. We thought this was going to work. It didn't. Now we're going to take a little bit of time to like really focus, and we might not, we'll update you as soon as we're ready, and then you go head down and drive, and but to go right off the bat and be like, and just not say anything, like that's crappy. Especially when a game is like so underwhelming, and like No Man's Sky was. I mean, they promised the world and delivered like, a box, right? I don't know what the how to finish that. So that's what they did, and Anthem kind of did the same thing. Hold on, Graham. When you do that, or Fallout 76 too, like say that you screwed up, say we get it, we're gonna fix it, but you got to give us time, and then you can ignore it, because at that point you said what needs to be said, and there will be trolls. There always are trolls, and there are people that just like to pile on for piling on's sake, but you said it, and now you don't. It doesn't necessarily feel to people like me that like you just took my money and ran. Go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Graham.
Yeah, and like, who's to say that Sean Murray actually knows the right approach? Just because like he didn't say anything, he came back. Basically, you didn't hear anything about that game. Everybody forgot about the game. It completely disappeared. And then when they came out with the newest big update called Next, then everyone's like, oh, it's actually not that bad. But who's to say that was the right approach? Like, was that the reason the game was successful? Because he didn't talk to the fans and he just like hid away and just came out with that? Like, I agree with Steven. You at least say, okay, we messed up. We realized that this needs to be fixed, and we're sorry that we didn't deliver on our promises, but we will make it right. It might take some time. But the whole, like, disappear and then, like, hey, look at this. It's fixed.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can say that's why it was successful after the update is because he didn't interact with the fans.
No, I agree. And I do think there's something to be said in the current state of discourse around the gaming industry right now between fans and companies. There's something to be said for the idea that you say what you have to say and nothing more in those situations, because if you over communicate, then there's going to be YouTube videos up with, you know, every third word being all capital letters, like, you know, and those words being like lied to us and, you know, et cetera, et cetera, because that's what sells today. So you could have the best intentions and your words could get completely twisted, because I've seen people that do those videos that completely twist something around and miss the point in epic fashion.
Well, they do it on purpose, though, because they know it's going to
They do. Yeah. They're playing to the fan base too, who wants to twist it into something evil.
Because they think these like developers are like evil, and they're just out to steal your money or whatever. That's what I don't get why gamers think that. Same with like they think journalists and developers like are evil, and I don't get the mindset. Like without developers, you wouldn't have your video games, and journalists keep them honest. So I don't get it.
How many developers do you think went into that industry, you know, because they hate video games?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason, like, and like you go to school and like computer science, like especially the video game side is so popular. Everyone wants to make video games, like especially those that program. Whereas you don't even need. I don't want to go in. Never mind. I won't go down.
Well, and think about
it's popular.
Right. But it's same with gaming media. Because gaming media, to really make it big, there's maybe 4 to 5 outlets that are truly big.
There's a couple.
And you can have a sustained career.
It's not a huge field, right? And
oftentimes now you got to start by doing a small blog or a channel or something and do it for free for years to build a portfolio.
Yeah. And like you're not getting into that if you hate it. Like but you don't do
exactly.
You don't do a lot of the like journalism things if you didn't like the thing you're covering. No one's a sports journalist that hates sports, right? That'd be ridiculous. You need to have some form of passion, especially in like the artistic world. If you're not passionate, the product's going to be garbage. And
there was another story this past weekend that we might touch on if we have time tonight, that, you know, I think people that, you know, hate gaming journalists, they'll overlook the fact that gaming journalists stood up and said, no, we're absolutely not taking part in this. But so I don't know, you're right. People love to just like rail against these people, whether it's developers. And I think the evil in gaming comes from the publisher side, not the developer side. Yes. I don't think developers set out to take advantage of gamers. I think publishers set out to, they don't necessarily set out. It's not like a business. It is a business.
Yeah.
It's
they want to make money.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that publishers look to take advantage of gamers, and I hate that narrative that they just sit around and think of every last way to kind of screw over gamers. They don't, but they first and foremost are beholden to their shareholders, like any major publicly traded company. And it's not me saying that's right. It's just true. Yeah, it's what it is. So I don't know. We kind of got off topic. This conversation that's super easy to get into, but you know, it's my point though, because we talked about what happens if they say too much, and now we've created all these things, right? And talked about all these things, and it can become a disaster really fast because the sharks are in the water and they're constantly looking to strike.
And when I get not wanting to make like a 4,000 word post, because the more words you put out in your press conference, the easier it is to read between the lines and like have these publications will speculate on things. I mean, we'll do it too. I mean, we're, I guess, now we are gaming media. Like if your post to the public, right, your PR statement is like super long, it's easy to either contradict yourself, which doesn't sound good, or to, say something that you don't plan on doing, which just makes it way worse for you in the long run. So I kind of get it, but again, just be like, we messed up, we're going to fix this, give us time. Those 3 lines would appease me.
Yes.
And you can't read between the lines there, because that's 3 lines.
Plus, the more you say, the better chance you're going to say something that you end up not being able to deliver on.
I said.
Yeah.
And, so it's just... Yeah. We're all agreeing here, I think. So, yeah, it's... I mean... On the surface, it sounds like something that can be attacked, because it sounds like the type of thing that'll end up on a video with the title, Sean Murray says to ignore gamers. And that's not what he's saying. Mm-hmm. But I think his approach is probably, there's merit to it. Now, that said, Graham, that doesn't mean that he's the authority on how to do this, and it doesn't mean that the fact that he did it that way was the reason that it ended up okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, real quickly, we're not going to get into a big discussion on it, but Amazon Game Studios, Graham, is working on an MMO based on the Lord of the Rings world. Here's my question to you. It's not set in the actual, like, Lord of the Rings era that we know with, like, Aragorn, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
It's set before Tolkien's trilogy. Do you think Lord of the Rings has the clout behind it to do well in something that's not set during that era?
Yes, mainly because it's based on Middle Earth. So basically, you have your races, you have your elves, you have your dwarves, you have your humans, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like ESO, where you can pretty much go and branch off and do whatever you want, kind of story. You have this huge open world. But I learned reading about this article that they actually had an online MMO of Lord of the Rings. I forget exactly what year it was.
Years ago.
Which
It was a while ago.
Yeah. And I never even heard of it. It just like disappeared. So I don't know if this is actually going to be something that's going to become big and bring to the surface. And actually, Amazon Studios are actually working on another MMO that's currently in development. So we have really no idea when this is coming out. There's not even a title for this. So I don't know if they're just focusing, like, say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and all this stuff, and nothing's really come to surface. So I don't want to get my hopes up for something that's not going to come to fruition.
Amazon Prime, like, the video, they're making a prequel Lord of the Rings series, TV show, but it's not going to be related to this. And, like, I think Graham kind of hit on this. You know, if the game is set in the world with, like, the same, like, rules of, like, magic and all that, like, you could make the game based on whatever you want. I mean, you could have said the same thing about Star Wars. Like, Star Wars were, like, a original trilogy that spawned, you know, thousands of random crap, and a lot of it was really good crap. But, I mean, it wasn't, like... well, it was canon because everything was canon up until it just stopped being
Disney
canon.
acquired. Yeah.
And then it became legacy. But, yeah, I don't see why the book would mean... There's a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff, I should say, that, like, I can never pronounce this.
Oh, for sure. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So by me asking the question doesn't mean that I think it's not going to work, right? It's just... it's just throwing it out. And no, I think it'll do fine, especially because it's free to play. Ultimately, it's going to come down to how good the game is.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of you guys play any of the movie games back when they were out on, like, the original Xbox?
I played the strategy game, the Battle for Middle-earth 2.
Okay.
I played one on GameCube, which was kind of like Hyrule Warriors, where it's just hordes of people come and you just keep killing and stuff like that.
There's a name for those games.
Yeah,
I can't ever remember it.
I actually played the Return of the King game, and it's a great example of a really bad game that I thought was really fun.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this game will end up being good. I can't say whether or not I'll jump into it, but we'll see. And but anyway, I didn't want to stay on that for a long time. Just wanted to kind of throw it out there that that's a thing that is happening
Sometime.
Right. So Steve, a game we do know we're going to get is Final Fantasy VII. We're just a little more confused today as to maybe where we can all get it in terms of where we can play it. But Xbox Germany tweeted out a video showing footage from the Final Fantasy VII remake and announcing that it would release on March 3rd, 2020 on Xbox, which is day and date with the PlayStation release. And they took it down really quickly. They said it was a mistake. And Square today has said that they have no plans to release it on anywhere but PlayStation. Do you believe them?
I mean, in the trailers we saw, there was no exclusive to PlayStation like thing, and PlayStation always puts that if it's exclusive. And in 2015, when the first video, like when it was announced, it says play first on the PlayStation. So I don't necessarily believe Square here. I mean, they are the people making the game.
I think they have a contract that they have to make sure they're on the good side.
I bet you it's 6 months to a year. It sucks for people that want to play this game on the Xbox, but it is what it is. It's unfortunate, but yeah.
I think even if it is March 3rd, it might be, but they might have an agreement saying you can't announce that it's also going to be on Xbox until late in the game to secure the pre-orders for the PlayStation.
Could be for sure.
And so,
I mean, I saw a PC
I think,
Gamer article saying that it was a PS4 exclusive, but none of the stuff they put out before, like I know they haven't announced it, but they've never said it was a PS4 exclusive. And like I said, like Sony always like makes that known if it's a PlayStation exclusive.
well, I think, but like we talked about off air, Sony also plays this game of like, which they're very good at, of making you think things are PlayStation exclusives because of how they market it. And the marketing agreements they have. The first Star Wars Battlefront was a fantastic example of this. So all the marketing had PlayStation branding on it for that game. And there were a lot of gamers who actually thought it was only coming to the PlayStation, whereas it was always going to be on both. This is a little bit different, though, because it's never been said it's coming to Xbox, but you're right, it's never been said that it isn't until today, but I think that's more of a, we have an agreement here, and we got to make sure we're good, and they can't tell us that we violated it. But on the flip side, since when do you think Xbox, any division of Xbox, including Xbox Germany, since when do they sit around making YouTube videos about things that don't exist and are never going to happen?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think this was bad timing. Very similar, like these people probably work for Walmart Canada soon, Graham.
Yeah, but that Walmart Canada had leaks for games that didn't come. Splinter Cell being one.
No, Splinter Cell. Yep.
That is true.
Yep, they ruined it for everyone because they got everybody's hopes up.
Yep, thanks a lot, Graham.
You're welcome. On behalf of Canada, you're welcome.
Canada.
All right. So, all right. That. Do you guys want to hit real quick on the NTG, or should we leave that for next week?
On the G2A, you mean?
G2N, sorry. I'm backwards. I'm apparently becoming dyslexic, so.
Yeah, we can save it for next week.
Yeah, let's do it next week. That's fine.
Alrighty.
Okay. That's going to do it for news. And let's go ahead and move into releases, where we will start with Xbox in hopefully the final week of not too much coming out. But you can get Lost Orbit, Terminal Velocity on the 16th, Initial 2 New Stage on the 17th, and Growtopia on the 18th. Games with Gold, you can still get Inside through the 31st. Great game. Check it out if you haven't played it yet. Absolutely play that game. You can get Big Crown Showdown through the 31st, starting on the 16th, and Meet the Robinsons via backwards compatibility, also through the 31st. Steven, what can we get on PlayStation?
All right, on the 16th, you can get Lost Orbit, Terminal Velocity. On the 18th, you can get Gabuchi. And then on the 19th, you can get Telefrag VR. Those were literally the only 3 games that were coming this week for PlayStation. For PS Plus games, you can get Detroit Become Human and Horizon Chase Turbo through the end of the month. Graham, Nintendo.
So for Nintendo, on the 16th, you can get Let's Sing 2019. So let's all sing. And after you're done singing, you can get Let's Go Nuts on the 17th. And then finally on the 19th, we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, which comes out on the 19th. That's a pretty big one. It's only on the Nintendo Switch, so if you guys want to play that, you'll have to either buy a Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch Lite.
I think for next E3, I'm bringing my Switch, and I'm bringing Let's Sing 2019, just for you guys.
Can you please do that?
Yeah, I will. Hopefully it has Disney songs in it, because actually, you guys hope it has Spring is Here.
So everybody head on over to Patreon, because we are definitely going to need multiple different rooms, or there might be a homicide.
Yeah, because I'll kill it with my amazing singing voice.
Yeah.
My ears will be killed.
These guys
Graham,
are ridiculous.
Graham, do you remember the car ride from the airport?
I do. I've tried to block out those memories, but they're still in there.
Which song was your favorite?
Spring is Here. It's always his favorite.
That wasn't on the playlist, though.
Right.
That's true.
So what we did, everyone, was we set Graham up. We created a playlist that had 2 Metallica songs at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So we lulled Graham into like this false sense of security.
I tried to give him a hint by putting the Metallica song that was also covered by Nickelback. They didn't have the Nickelback version, but he didn't figure it out. He wasn't thinking.
They evilly planned out. Well, it was the first 2 songs from the Black album, so it could have been easily. How am I gonna know? Okay, sad but true. Now they must be going with Nickelback.
Because you should know us by now, Graham.
So Graham,
I should know you
what
by now.
song came after the second Metallica song?
It was probably it
I just
Nickelback?
gave you the answer.
It
Yes, it was Photograph.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
There was
what
some
song
Celine
it was.
in there too.
there was
Yes.
Celine right after that.
And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
And
was
then
it
he got-
Titanic.
Yeah, and then as any good Canadian would want, he got some great patriotic
Yes.
music for America. And yeah, he had a great ride from the airport to the Airbnb. So
They locked the doors and he went really fast so I can jump out because the car was moving.
We also told him that it was illegal in California to wear headphones in the car.
yes, I believe that's
No noise canceling headphones for you, Graham.
I know better for next time now, though.
But we can't do it again.
all right.
All right.
Anyway, Steven, do we have any
We have
questions
a
this
couple.
week?
So, Despawn asks, what do you think the sweet spot is for game length? With Fire Emblem Three Houses having like 200 hours of gameplay, is that too much or too little for you?
Graham, thoughts?
That's a tough question. I would say, depending on the type of game, like, I wouldn't like to say The Witcher 3 is too long and it should be less. And it's kind of one of those where you can control the length of it. So I don't think any game is 200 hours, even if you fly through it. So it's hard to tell. It's got to work with the story. As long as it don't seem like it's being dragged out and stuff like that, then I'm okay with the length. Like, it don't have to be a predetermined one for me.
Yeah. I don't mind games being super long. Half the time when they're really long, I never finish them because, well, that's just kind of how it goes. But I do like when games are long. I feel like, as long as it's not padded like some of the Ubisoft titles used to be, with like a bunch of just fetch garbage collectible things, or Breath of the Wild with like 9,000 Korok seeds. I know it's 900. I was just trying to rile Graham up there. But yeah, like Fire Emblem, it's supposedly like 80 hours in with each house. So, you add it up and you get like 240 hours of gameplay. But I imagine that's if you like keep all the cutscenes, and after a while you get bored of the like battle scenes. At least I did. So I like always turn them off just to kind of make the auto battle, and because that stuff adds up like for a long time after, if you're playing for a while. So who knows? But that's what they said. They said it was like 80 hours. So that's cool. I like having that option, but I almost never complete the thing. And there are times it has burned me out, like Persona 5. I think I got 85 hours through 2 playthroughs, and I couldn't finish it. Well, I beat it, but I got the bad ending. And then the second time I just burned out because it's hard to play when you're playing 80 hours. Like, sometimes it's just kind of done. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with Graham. I think it depends a lot on the type of game that you're playing. So when Gears 5 comes out, if that was 80 hours for the campaign,
God.
I'd be so bored
yes.
by the honestly the 10-hour mark. Those campaigns are their sweet spot it's right around that 8-hour mark, I think. But for a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, I probably could have played through another 30 hours of that and been just fine as long as the stories were still good.
Yeah, and
So-
how long was that game? I feel like we played.
About 60 hours.
Yeah.
A little more, like 60 to 65, I think it was officially. So, yeah. And, but I easily could have played through another 30 to 40 of that. So, it really depends on the game, I think, and what it's built to be. But, like, shooters, absolutely not. But that said, I put hundreds of hours into sports games sometimes. I know people who put thousands of hours into Destiny.
Yeah. But
And-
that's not required
this
to
guy.
be. There's a difference
Sure.
between, like, being able to play multiplayer, because that's unlimited, realistically. I put 700-800 hours into Smite, But I think it
Yeah.
just means like story wise, probably.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
story wise, like it just depends on the game. But I think 40 hours is like the sweet spot for me. Games can be longer if they're like Red Dead, and
Or Breath of the Wild.
yeah, but even Breath of the Wild, like you do burn out because it's kind of like you're playing at your own pace, and you kind of do what you just kind of go exploring. It's not really a story, whereas like The Witcher is like you're doing the story, and even a lot of the side quests were like amazing. So that game had
Yeah.
200 hours easily without the expansions, but all of it was like entertaining, like story wise. Whereas Breath of the Wild, it's how much can you really spend exploring?
So I'll be honest with you guys. I think I see flaws in games, or maybe flaws is the wrong word, but maybe things I don't like about a game when I know it's really long. And part of that might be talking myself out of committing 200 hours to something.
Yeah.
Because it's just knowing it's 200 hours when you're not super hyped for it, it's not your favorite franchise or you're in your top 5 even. Like, that seems really daunting sometimes.
But for me, as someone who likes to pretend that he's frugal, when I spend $60 on a game that's 200 hours, I mean, someone did the math in the podcast question section of Discord. Like, it's like 60 cents or 30 cents per hour of play if a game's 200 hours at $60. Like, wait, that math? Yeah, no, that's math. It's pretty correct in my head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, that sounds great because you spend $60 and you get 200 hours. That sounds awesome. But yeah, like I do agree. It just depends on the game and what you'd be doing. But
Yeah.
All right.
Now, and on the flip side, real quick, on the flip side, a game like Sea of Solitude, which I talked about earlier, that game you can finish in 4 hours ish, maybe even less. And for $20, 4 hours is, I think that's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's not the worst though. Gone Home was absolutely the worst in my opinion for that.
Well, Gone Home you could finish in less than a minute if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but Gone Home, if you played it like normally, it was like 2 hours, and $20 for 2 hours, you're valuing my time at $10 an hour. And
but the thing is though, Gone Home, I reviewed that game too, but I had a much better time with that game because I could stop and look at things, and the nostalgia of some of the stuff you're looking at was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a bad game. I'm just saying
for bang for the buck. Yeah, I would.
For video games, it is a lot of like bang for the buck. I mean, $20 is the cost of a movie, and most movies are 2 hours, and so that I guess there is that. But I don't know, with video games, it's always been. Gone Home didn't match the quality of a movie, in my opinion, because the movie story is almost always better.
Well, movies have much more of a replayability factor than a lot of games do.
That's true.
Outside of Graham's opinion on that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that.
So, well, yeah, but I just feel like movies have. I don't think people look at it that way for a movie, because they know they're probably gonna watch. If you like it enough to buy, you're probably gonna watch it more than once.
Yeah, for sure.
So
that's not for me.
Well, you probably don't buy movies then.
No.
And if you
even
do,
ones I
you're
bought,
kind of,
I've only watched.
Then
once.
you're kind of not very smart if you're buying a movie just to watch it once. Why wouldn't you just rent it?
Well, and Steven the Box said he did buy. He's paying like $400 an hour.
Well, that's true. That's true. Because he only watched it once. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question. Xbot Toss says, what game this generation has your favorite gameplay?
Ooh.
Oh, this generation?
That's easy for me.
It's easy for me too. Breath of the Wild.
I mean, that's fine. It's your gameplay. For me, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, now that you said that, I didn't even think of that. Yes, Spider-Man.
Yeah, the gameplay was
Hands
phenomenal.
down.
It was so fun just flying through the world.
And honestly, second place might be Sunset Overdrive for me.
Yeah, well, it's the same company, so there you go.
Yeah, same company.
I forgot that was this generation. Because, this generation is split into, 2 halves, right? Because you got the new consoles. So, Sunset Overdrive came out in for the Xbox One, but the OG one. So, it's
Yes.
I do forget some of that stuff. That is... I'm sure there's some other games that had great gameplay that I'm missing.
Yeah, like Rise.
Sure.
So it looked beautiful. You can give it that, I guess. So anything else?
Yeah, we have one question. Rude Days 93 asks, he may have missed it, but what is our opinion on Google Stadia? Can it be a threat to Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft?
Yes, because of how they're responding to it. They clearly see it as a threat, so we should too.
Yeah, I don't love a lot of it. It does feel like I don't like some of the ways, I don't want to go super in depth here, but some of the ways like how you purchase games, you purchase it and then you have to stream it still. And like it does kind of feel like you might potentially lose access to the game you paid for if the service goes down or something. And if it was more like a console but streaming, I think it would be better. Like a kind of a replacement for a console but was more similar to a PC, but you didn't need to have a desktop to play it. Like, I think it would have been better. It'll be interesting, but I'm not really looking to get in on it at the start.
Yeah,
same here.
Same here too. I have no intentions of getting it. Maybe in the future when it's more appealing to me, but as of right now, it doesn't really appeal to me. I'd rather just play on my console games. If I'm mobile and I want to play on something, then I have a lot of mobile games on my phone that I'll just kill time or I'll just read something on my phone. Or I have my Nintendo Switch as well.
I have little to no interest in streaming games, to be honest with you. And it's not that it's not a good thing for some people, because for some people it's great. And more power to them, and I hope they love it.
Yeah.
But for me, I just don't see the benefit of it. I don't travel enough for it to be a thing that I need to do on the go without needing to bring a console with or something. And I don't. When I'm at home, I'd rather have it downloaded and know I'm not going to deal with any of that stuff. And on top of it, the data cap and all that type of thing as well. So, yeah, I'm good without it, and I don't know. We'll see if it becomes more relevant in the future.
Yep.
But they are certainly treating it like it could be a threat.
Yes, they are.
So,
For sure.
all right. Is it time to announce a winner?
Yes. That it be.
Okay.
That it be.
Take it away.
All right. So our winner of our weekly Patreon giveaway is DVSP. So thank you. Thanks to all our patrons.
Thank you.
But DVSP
Congratulations.
won, so we'll reach out to you, get you the code, and that'll be that. So congrats, bud.
All right, yes. Yeah, thank you, and thank you to everybody who supports us on Patreon again. It's really appreciated, and it means a lot to us, and it helps us grow the show and do a lot of things with the community. So, all right. Let's wrap up episode 171, guys. And before we go, though...
Shout.
Yeah?
I didn't forget.
What's he going out of the
shout outs for our patrons, but we'll do it at the end.
That's at the end, though. It's at the end, though, Graham. We're not at the end yet.
Oh,
Before we go...
Sorry.
Before we go, just a reminder, we'd love to have you join the community. So head on over to Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub there, and Facebook, the Gaming Hub forums there. From either of those places, you can get a link into our Discord where you can take part in a lot of good conversation about... They've made up an imaginary show now about food. Is that correct?
They did do that.
They did. Okay, so that's cool. There is some stuff on there that's very creative and makes me laugh and sometimes just makes me wonder. But we love them all and we love you all. So thank you. And please come join and take part in that craziness. So also we have Twitter, TXH, at TXH Gaming Hub there, and YouTube. Please check out YouTube, the Gaming Hub podcast there. We're doing a lot more in terms of reviews and opinion videos, some lists, some what we're looking forward to type stuff. I'm going to start getting some Madden 20 content out as we ramp up towards the release of that game. And I know you guys have stuff planned as well, so please join that. We are really looking forward to doing a lot of reviews there and more of that as we move forward. So, all right, if you'd like to help support the community, we'd really appreciate that as well. And I mentioned patreon.com just a little bit ago, so patreon.com/gaminghub. For as low as $2 a month, you get bonus content. Plus, for $5 a month, you get all that and entries into the weekly giveaway that we just did here on the show. Okay. And also Twitch, TXH Gaming Hub. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you get a free Twitch Prime somebody's every single month. If you choose to spend on us, we really appreciate it. It goes a long way to helping us grow the community, grow the show, and make a better product. So, All right, that's it for all the plugs. And now let's wrap up episode 171. We'll be back next week with 172. And before we go, Steven, give credit to everybody who supports us.
So thank you, Carlos Alv Williams, Anthony Busby, Grant Pfeiffer, Damian Sutevsky, Casey Wright, and Graham Wynn. You guys, huge thanks to you guys. Y'all amazing. All our patrons, all our listeners are amazing. But we really couldn't do it without the patrons. We couldn't go to all these shows because these shows, cost money, and
and even though Halo Outpost is right up the road from Steven, it's still to have the equipment to go there and bring back content for you. That's what that support goes to. So
I have to travel really far. It's like a whole 10 minutes maybe at the most.
Yeah. I didn't realize it's right across the street from Disneyland.
It's convention center.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So anyway, that'll do it for episode 171. We'll be back next week with 172. Until everybody, have a great week. Stay safe, play some great games, and we'll talk to you soon.